What's going on, everybody? This is Scott, also known as Cha-Ching King. Today, I'm going to show you how to find several items that resellers walk right past that woodworkers would never miss. For those of you that don't know, I've been a woodworker for a little over 30 years, and I know this stuff, and it hadn't occurred to me until today to share with you some items that are going to blow you away as far as the value goes. You're not going to see these all the time, but if you do see them, you're not going to walk past them. So we're going to jump over to the computer. And I'm going to walk you through. These are recent sold items on eBay. These are not projected. These are all sold. And again, it's going to blow you away. I'm going to dive in with something that is a bucket list item of mine. I don't have a set of these, but we're going to look at Japanese chisels, and the prices of these are just going to shock you. I'm going to share with you first the Tasai Makomi. These are Damascus set of chisels. Damascus is going to refer to patterned steel where it is layered between a hard and a mild steel so that you get the strength of mild. It's not as brittle, but you get the hard steel to maintain a really sharp cutting edge. But that's what these are. Now, a best offer was accepted, so you don't know exactly what it sold for. But this set of 5 chisels, $3,700. Again, you're not going to see them all the time, but what I don't want you to do is to be at an estate sale and you walk right by these. One of the keys you're going to look for on Japanese chisels is they are most likely going to be marked with something like that right there, either on the top or on the shank or on the back side of them. This is a much more reasonably priced set. It's not the Damascus steel, but this is a handmade set of chisels. Another thing to look at when you're looking at these, the backs of these are almost always going to be like this. Going to be a little bit concave on the back, but the cutting edge will be solid all the way across. And again, they're going to be stamped on them somewhere with the maker. That's what that is right there. So Japanese chisels. This is an unused set, much less expensive than the others we've been looking at because there's 56 of them. But the same thing goes is that you're going to see the back is hollowed out. Again, $800, depending upon what you could pick them up for. Keep your eyes open for Japanese chisels. Let's talk about a brand that I think you need to know about. And they make chisels, they make all kinds of things, and it's Bridge City Tools. I have found Bridge City Tools in the wild. I have found some marking gauges. So you'll see right here that these are some marking gauges and an awl and just some neat items. One of the first things you'll notice when you find them is the quality is just insanely good. It isn't going to feel like other ones when you pick up, but this sold for $600. Bridge City Tools is always worth looking up. Here's the thing. They sold all of this together. I think they could have broke this up and made much more money on it. This is a hand drill from Bridge City Tools, and it didn't sell for $850, but I guarantee this sold for over $500. Again, when you pick this up, the quality is going to be obviously very, very good. That looks like maybe even a Cocobolo handle or something like that, rosewood of some kind. Just outstanding quality. Here's more. Now, this one had some Bridge City Tools and Veritas. Veritas chisels, that's what these are right here. Another great brand. This is a Veritas plane. Another great brand to watch for, Veritas and Bridge City Tools. We're going to cover a few others too. Let's talk a little bit about hand planes. Again, I want you to watch for the Japanese logos, not just chisels. They make hand planes, and the Japanese steel is absolutely insanely good. So about $3,000 for this set of planes. Let me look at the end of it. Yeah, quarter sawn white oak, just an incredible set, but watch for those logos when you are out in the wild. And if it appears to be handmade and Japanese and you can get it for a reasonable price, you just almost can't go wrong. Let's talk about something maybe more realistic for you to see when you're out. This is a Stanley plane. Not all Stanley planes are worth what this one is, so we're going to talk about what makes this one special. I have not found a number one Sweetheart plane yet, but I will. So it's an antique, 1920, 1932. One of the ways you can identify a Sweetheart plane is that logo right there, that SW on the blade. The number 1 refers to the size. The bigger the number, the larger the hand plane. That bigger plane doesn't necessarily make it more valuable. The smaller planes are actually worth more because more people can use them. A number 4 or number 5 joining plane can be valuable, but I would rather find these small ones, easier to ship. The big things to watch out for when you find any plane, if it's a metal-bodied plane, make sure that there are no cracks along this. That will drastically reduce the value of it. But Stanley planes are still highly, highly collectible, and the Sweetheart planes will just about top that market out. All right, Lie-Nielsen, one of my favorite brands. These are the left and right hand edge planes, and this set sold for almost $900. And if you count shipping, it did sell for $900. I've had a bunch of Lie-Nielsen. I bought them before they were that expensive, but this is bronze, not brass. Just absolutely terrific quality. Not quite the quality of like Bridge City tools. If you had them side by side, you could, one of them's like museum quality artwork, and like Lie-Nielsen is like artwork. So really beautiful stuff. Absolutely keep your eyes and ears open. And I do occasionally find Lie-Nielsen out in the wild. So that's not an impossible one to find. This is another one. I actually had this plane, the number 2. Again, solid bronze. They do make some that are more the iron, the mild iron and stuff like that. But the bronze ones will be worth the most. But I wouldn't pass up any of them if you get a good price on them. Let's jump ship a little bit. I'm doing all this woodworking stuff, but this is something that you guys might see. You'll notice this sold on auction for $780, and it's a Bakelite. This was part of a lamp. They took it apart and they sold the blank for $780. Wood turners use these. They make everything from high-end pens to anything you could turn is what they make out of it. And you can see what you're looking at there. Fun fact, I paid for all of the tools in my shop by turning pens, by making pens and selling them. A lot of deer horn, antler, rare woods that I had. Fun stuff. Keep your eyes open for vintage Bakelite, especially where the pattern shows up and it's big enough to turn. Another Japanese tool. There's a theme here because as far as woodworking goes, the Japanese tools are absolutely incredible, and that's a natural whetstone. These are very hard to find. When I have come across this kind of stuff, I'll run into it all at one time. I'll be at an estate sale and you'll run into, they have several of these kind of things. Just like if you, when I die, you need to come to my estate sale because you're going to find a lot of high-end woodworking stuff because that's what I do. So natural whetstones, they'll have markings on them. You're going to be looking at those Japanese insignias again, and it's a stone, and that's what they use to sharpen all of these fine blades and things that you've seen. And look at the price. It didn't sell for $2,200. When you see that line crossed out on eBay, it sold for, that's where it started, and somebody took a best offer. But even if it was half of that, that's a lot. Here's another natural stone, and this one did sell for $927. And again, it's basically if you find a Japanese rock with the marks on it and it's got a nice flat side on it, that's probably something you need to consider. Let's change gears again. And these are heavier items, so I don't sell a lot of these, but I have picked them up, and I have some. This is brand specific and item specific. So when you see this brand right here, Emmert, on a vise, they're called pattern makers vices. They are very, very valuable. If you find a pattern maker's vice that isn't Emmert brand, it could still be worth quite a bit of money, and you definitely want to look it up. So you want to know the brand, and you want to kind of know what these look like because they're really valuable. Here is a different brand, and you can see this isn't crazy old. It's not from the 1920s or something like that, but it's that pattern maker's vice, sold for $500. These are things you can find in the wild if you know what to look for. You're not going to find them every weekend, but they are out there. You know what else is nice about things like this off-brand one? A lot of the estate sale people, they'll know a vice is valuable, so they might price this at $100 or something. But they're hard to look up if you don't know what you're looking for and you don't know what to call it. It's a pattern maker's vice. Here's another one. This is an antique. That's probably an Emmert. It may not be. It may not even be marked. But again, you can see this one sold for $1,000. Anyway, I just want you to be aware of it because those are things you can find. Another one, tons of people miss these, and you're going to probably call it a file. It's technically a rasp, and not all rasps go for hundreds of dollars. Let me show you exactly what you're looking for. We're going to zoom in a little bit on this. If you'll notice, it's not perfectly uniform where the cutting edges are. On most files and rasps that you find, they are cut by a machine. What happens is when they are cut by hand, like this one, they produce so much better cutting without having a consistent machine texture. When you file something down or rasp wood down with this, you get a much smoother cut. I mean, these are just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I really like woodworking tools. This is another, I should have shown you this one. This one's going to show it better. Notice that it's not perfectly even because somebody cut this by hand when they made this rasp, and that's why they're more expensive. This one sold on bids, one rasp, $255. So anytime you're in a place and it looks like they've got really nice woodworking stuff, pick the files up, check them out, and look, are they hand cut? And if they are, price goes up drastically. Now we're going to get into my favorite stuff. I have mentioned before that I had a lumber mill. I still have thousands of board feet of lumber. It's not a problem. I'm not addicted. I just have it. I could quit anytime. But let's talk about lumber. You potentially could find gun stocks out there. It's the blank. It's cut. It's ready for anybody who's making a gun stock to cut it to fit their gun. What you're looking for, just in a nutshell, you want that blank to have the wildest figure that you can find. The more wild the figure and the tighter the grain, the more the value of the gun stock will go up. This is Turkish walnut. I don't work a lot with walnut. I don't like the smell of walnut when it's that juglone in it that I don't care for. But this is a gorgeous piece of wood. Look at that figure in there. When you cut that out, that is going to make an amazing gun stock. This is a mesquite mantle. This is not something that you would sell on eBay. Well, they did. They sold it on eBay. I wouldn't sell it on eBay. My mantle is mesquite. I cut it with my lumber mill. My kitchen cabinets are mesquite. Mesquite is a gorgeous wood. It's very heavy. It weighs about 5 pounds per board foot. A board foot is 12 inches square, 1 inch thick. That's a board foot. But this sold for $1,500. And I doubt that you're going to come across a whole mantle where somebody doesn't know what it's worth. But if you do, to me, that's a great Facebook Marketplace find. The other thing to watch for are burls. Mesquite burls are very, very popular. And I've sold acres of these. This one's huge. This is 28 by 24. That's like coffee table size. Live edge means that they left the natural edge on it. They didn't square it up. But you see the figure in it. I would grade this figure here like a C. It's not special. It is a mesquite burl. The burl is that part you see right in there. It's got some figure in it. Any burls that you find, if you find a woodworker in their scrap piles and things like that, there could be some real value there, but only if the wood has real figure. It can't just be good wood. You know, cherry, walnut, oak, all of those things. If it's just a plain grain, it's not going to be incredibly valuable. And that's just a short dive in to some of the woodworking related things that you should be looking for when you're out there in the wild. Sneaky value on some of these things if you haven't had any experience with them. That's it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you find something out there. And if you do, or if you have, let me know in the comments, because I love this stuff. I can talk to you about lumber and woodworking all day, every day. That's it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to see you real soon on the next one. Bye.